Raider Nation. Raider Nation. Raider Nation. Raider Nation. This is your president speaking. And I approve this message.
Oakland Raiders, Oakland Raiders, Oakland Raiders. Just win, baby, win, baby, win, baby. We are the Oakland Raiders, Oakland Raiders, Oakland Raiders. Just win, baby, win, baby, win, baby. Oakland Raiders, Oakland Raiders, Oakland Raiders. Just win, baby, win, baby, win, baby. Don't need no invitation. We are that Raider Nation. We rock that black and silver. We make them shake and shiver.
Coach, the best part of the interview already happened, so we can probably just hang it up, put the mics down. We got some insight into even the mic'd up stuff. That was fun. How fun is it to be back coaching football?
Well, you got no idea. We've got a great group of guys. I really feel confident in my coaching staff. We put a lot of work in preparing for this camp, and to be back on the grass, fighting for yards, it's a blast. And we do have one heck of a quarterback here. We're excited.
Awesome.
How hard was it to kind of, and I don't know if it was changing the identity or changing the narrative on this organization, but I mean, in the past, it hadn't been a great line here. How hard has it been to kind of change that mojo or change the identity of this team?
Well, it is hard. You know, we've had one winning season in the last 14 years. I think since I was traded, I think we've had 10 different head coaches. But we have good guys. We have good players. We have a really good coaching staff. We have an opportunity to do something with it. And all we can do is string good days together and get this silver and black train on track and start winning some football games. That's all we're trying to do.
So when you took the job, I know you love watching film, you eat up the game. When you popped it on and the team last year and just the personnel, what were your initial thoughts on either how can I make these guys into what I want to do, what I've been looking over the last 10, 15 years and even before that, or you know, how do I adapt to fit these guys? How much was it a combination of both those things?
Well, it is. You have to evaluate your personnel first, your cap situation second, and then your resources third. Where do we draft? How much money can we spend? Who's available? You just don't come in here and wave a wand and say, we're back. We're back to the glory days. Yeah. We got to build our team around our quarterback. We did that in the draft. We drafted 2 offensive tackles. We brought in some good supporting players like J.Nelson, Doug Martin, a couple guys like Breno Giacomini that's got a ring from playing with you. And we helped ourselves, I think, on defense. I really think you're going to like Arden Key and Maurice Hurst, our 2 young defensive linemen. We added some veteran players that know Paul Gunther's system, Leon Hall, Emmanuel Lemure, and I think that gives us a chance, but we still have a long way to go before we're ready to roll.
Yeah, Coach, you talk about that defense, and you know I got to ask, can the defense be as good as it wants to be or needs to be without Khalil Mack, your star pass rusher, being here?
We were very good last year on defense with Khalil Mack, and we didn't have an interception, I think, all year. I don't know if we intercepted a pass until week 14. We've got to get a better pass rush. We've got to play better defense, period. And we hope Khalil gets in here, but in the time being, we have plenty of guys that need work.
You know what makes things fun in training camp, we were talking off camera, is competitiveness and just getting after guys. How competitive has it been? And I know as an offensive coach and a quarterback, we never want to see the defense do well. So you going against Gunther, how has that been in kind of with wearing the head coaching hat? Do you get excited when the offense wins and you're kind of like still a little nervous for the defense, or is it always let's just go kick their butt? Yeah, how do you manage that?
Well, you know how it is. This has been the story of my life. When I'm calling the plays, I want the plays to work.
Sure, every one of them, no doubt.
And if it doesn't work, I either yell at Derek or I yell at somebody that missed the block.
Right.
It's never my fault.
No, never.
It's never my fault. But I love to compete. You'll hear a lot of trash talking out there. The defense loves to reject all of my plays. They don't like to see me happy and fist pumping. But I think that brings out the best in us. You know, Paul Gunther, he likes to send me home to my room miserable, and I like to send him home to his miserable.
I like it.
But I think that competition fuels good things for our players.
Coach, you look at the rest of the AFC West. I know you've studied the rest of the AFC West. Kind of, you know, where do you guys fit in that mix? And I know, you know, you're the head coach of the Oakland Raiders, but how do you guys fit in that mix, and how do you see this division setting up?
Well, this is a dangerous division. I know the Chiefs very well from covering them and being good friends with Andy Reid. They're the defending champs, and rightfully so. And Mahomes is the real deal. You'll see. This guy's a talented gunslinging quarterback. I think the Chargers have as good a pass rush as there is in the league, and perhaps one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks that you'll see all season in Phillip Rivers. And the Denver Broncos, I really believe, added one of the free agent acquisitions of the year in Case Keenum. I don't know why Minnesota let him out of there. I wish they would have kept him. I'm really upset with him because he is a bulldog. He's a really good quarterback. He brings Denver, I think, some stability at a critical position.
When you look at it, it's going to be such a tight division. When you see your football team and you're thinking about what you're about to implement as far as the identity of this football team, what gives you guys the edge? Like, what's going to set the 2018 Oakland Raiders apart from everybody else?
Well, we have too much to prove right now. We've had one padded practice. I think when you watch us play, hopefully you're going to see supreme effort. You're going to see some guys that are doing everything that they can to win a football game, and regardless of the circumstances. There's going to be peaks and valleys. Guys are going to be injured. We're going to have a lot of negative things happen, just like every other locker room. But you're going to see a mentally tough football team that plays hard. I think that has balance. I think we're going to be able to run the ball with Derek here. I know we're going to be able to throw the ball to some degree, but we've just got to lay good days together here at training camp and let all the predictions take care of themselves.
Yeah, you're talking about running the football, Coach. Obviously, I'm an old fullback, so I'm very concerned about running the football. Been talking to Beast Mode. First of all, he loves you. He loves your attitude, loves the run game. Talk about how big the run game is going to be for this team. Obviously, you have Doug Martin coming over from Tampa Bay also. How important is the run game going to be to the identity of this team?
Well, I think it's going to be important, and we have a lot of ways to run it. We can get into a 2-back set. Keith Smith came over from Dallas, and I watched Lynch carefully in his glory years in Seattle. He had a fullback in front of him. You know the guy?
Yeah, I know.
They had a blocking tight end named Zach Miller.
Zach Miller, yeah.
They weren't running zone reads and pop passes and all that stuff. They were running the old-fashioned way, and I think we have some components in place to do that. We also want to get Derek in a spread-out open system and run the ball from a single-back set with all those fancy bubble passes you guys like.
You like that stuff?
So we got a lot of ways to go, but who's healthy, who's hot, who we're playing is going to have a lot to say how we play.
Talking about this offense, is Spider 2 wide banana a real thing?
It is. It is. Just hit the fullback in the flat.
Yeah, he's open every time.
Every time, dog.
Your brother won't even look to the fullback. He's looking for the wide banana.
What?
That aggressive, the cars.
Man,
That's
never
all
go
right,
broke
man.
taking a profit.
Yeah, I agree.
Come on.
So talking about the offense again, because I can't help myself. J.Nelson is a guy that obviously a lot of people bring in veteran wide receivers to kind of help the wide receiver room or bring those guys up, but he can still run. I feel like he can still play. I'm talking to Derek. I know he can still play. What has he meant having him on this football team?
Well, I can't speak for everybody, but he can still run. I mean, we had one of those things, speedometers that tell you how fast you run. We put one out on our practice field, and he's ripping down there 22 miles an hour. He can run. He ran away from everybody the other day. Now, we're going to be smart with him here in camp, but he brings us more than just a big speed receiver. This is the most reliable guy you'll ever coach.
No doubt.
You want 12 yards, he's going to be 12. You want to be a yard outside the numbers, that's where he's going to be. And he gives us a presence, I think, in the meeting rooms that is unbelievable. He helps Amari Cooper. He's helping our young slot receiver because, he's been in the big games and he's played great in the bigger the games are. So he's a real big addition for us.
This might be a selfish question for me. 4th and 1 on the goal line. On the 1 yard line, do you throw it or do you hand the football off, Coach? What do you do?
I used to give it to a beast myself. Mike Allstott, we had a guy that was well-known cruncher inside the 1. But look, we're gonna try to run the ball when we get inside the 1. You know that. What am I supposed to say?
I love it. Okay, last one. So Amari Cooper, what are your plans for Amari? I know, you probably want to give him the ball as much as possible, but what have you seen so far that excites you?
Well, he came back. He's 225
That's why I grabbed him, and I was like, really?
I remember coaching the receivers in Green Bay. We had a guy like him as Sterling Sharp who had rare speed and size and strength. And we're going to move him all over the place. We're hoping he can stay injury-free and have a great training camp. But he's off to a superb start. But he is smart. He's elusive. He can run after the catch. We got to get more ways to get him the football, and that we'll try.
Fantastic. Well, Coach, I appreciate you joining us.
All right,
you're busy.
you
got it, man.
All right. You guys come on, help me out. You guys want to take a few reps?
We'll throw it around. They'll take Derek's reps. I don't mind doing that at all.
Everybody good? All right, any questions for Jordy?
I know it's been a small sample size of you seeing Amari, but
What do you think it'll take, or how far away do you think he is from making that jump into the great elite level of wide receivers in this league?
Yeah, from what I've seen, obviously he has the ability. His quickness and athleticism, the way he understands the game, hands, everything. He has it all. I think when you get to that elite level, I think more than anything, it's just the consistency aspect of it. And I haven't watched him too much or paid too much, so I don't know. But, I mean, he's still a young guy, but I think when you think of the elites, you think of someone like Fitzgerald and those guys that have done it for year after year after year after year. So I think that's how you get there and you sustain that and you don't have the up and down. So it's being consistent, which I think he's been doing a great job as far as I can tell since I've been here, day in and day out. And that's where it starts, is out here in practice, and then he'll transfer into the game.
Did you have to get into training camp to start feeling that it was different? I mean, you'd only been one place. So this 3 or 4 days, have you felt different, or is it this is your team and you've gone forward?
It honestly hasn't felt really much different since day 1 or day 2 of being with the organization back in April. I think the transition's been extremely smooth, a lot smoother and easier than honestly expected going into it, the unknown. But once we've gotten into football and practice, it's been smooth, and it's football again, just different guys.
In that kind of same vein, you come in, some veterans that come in and say, hey, I don't want to really talk right now or speak up. It sounds like you're taking on a leadership role. But what do you think that you bring? You got the resume that those other receivers in that meeting don't have.
There's a fine line, because obviously these guys have been together. I think it's still a unique situation because they've been together. I'm new, but also this whole coaching staff's new, and we got a new offense. So to begin with, I think we're all just trying to learn the system, understand it, and understand what the coaches want. I can't come in here and coach these young guys or anyone up on how to run a route if it's not how they want it done here. I mean, it might be different than what I've done in the past. So it's understanding all of that, and then when I see something and as we progress and I'm starting to understand what the coaches want, the conversations I've had with the coaches or with Derek, and be able to relay that on is something that will continue to grow through camp and through the season.
How similar is this system to what you had in Green Bay? John obviously is worked with Andy Reid. It's kind of the same tree anyway. How similar is John?
Very similar. Some different verbiage, but for the most part, the routes are the routes. Just have to understand what they're calling certain concepts and what that means to them here. So I think I've gotten a good grasp on that and understand it extremely well. I think for the most part I've done a good job of deleting the stuff I brought from Green Bay, so I don't have to. I'm not trying to compare systems of like, okay, well, this is what that was or whatever. It's just when I hear a word, I know what it is for us here, and it allows my thinking to go quicker and allows me to get set and ready to go.
The Raiders have made a concerted effort to bring in veterans this offseason. A lot of their free agent signings were guys 28, 30. In your opinion, what's the benefit of that?
I think experience. The guys have been around. They understand the game. They've been through a lot, so you don't have to worry about them having to deal with the NFL life or dealing with the team or the travel and all that. We've been through a lot of it. We've been through a lot of situations. We've been in offenses that are similar or experienced, so it's easier to pick up. So I think those are some of the advantages, and obviously the leadership role, I think, is one reason as well. And I think we have some great leaders that were already here, and they brought in some good ones as well. And, it's all about meshing that together. I'm not coming in to try to take over the room. Obviously, Amari's had the room for the last few years, and it's just fitting in there and everyone finding that role and being successful at it.
Do you have to treat your body differently now than when you first came into the league?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. I think that's true for everyone who's going into their 11th season, and it changed a few years ago. When you fully understand that your body's changing, there's just a little bit more work behind the scenes of making sure you're prepared and taking care of it. But that's just all part of the game. As everyone gets older, you have to do it. Everything changes.
Derek said the other day that during the time when you guys were off, a lot of the senior guys made a point of meeting up with the quarterbacks for like informal workouts to make sure you guys were on the same page when you got here. Were you a part of any of those, and what did you guys get out of it?
I was able to be a part of one. By the time I got my family back out here, we were able to meet up with them one time and throw some routes. But it was just running routes with them, talking some verbiage, nothing over the top, but just still trying to stay fresh with it. I don't know what they accomplished or if they did anything different the other times that I wasn't there, but yeah, it's just, every time you get around one another, if it's about football and not about football, it's another way to grow chemistry. And anytime you see him throw a ball, it's going to help.
How's that process going in terms of working with him, and where maybe you like a certain ball to run with it? Afterward, timing, chemistry, where are you guys in that?
Just continue to grow with it. It's something that obviously will take time and will never stop. Even after being in Green Bay for 10 years, it's something that we were still working on there. You continue to grow, you continue to learn something new, you continue to fine-tune things because the defense is fine-tuning things. So it'll continue to grow until I'm done playing. So
about a week from now, you guys will be preparing for those joint practices against the Lions. What's your experience with joint practices, and how do you think those can be effective in terms of breaking up?
I've never been a part of one. With the Packers, we never did a joint practice, so it'll all be new to me. What I've seen on TV, they can become interesting, and hopefully it doesn't.
Do you expect clarity on the catch rule this year? It sounds like they're putting thought into it, but who knows?
I don't need any more clarity. I understand it. So,
is it possible for someone who's won at the highest level to still want to prove things, and especially the way it went down? I mean, does that motivate you, or does other things motivate you at this point?
Absolutely. We experienced that when we won the Super Bowl in 2010. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're going to take a deep breath and relax," but you don't, because you have that feeling. You know what it's like, and you want it again. Losing is never fun, no matter what level you're at. And I think I guess I'll speak personally. You have the pride factor. I mean, there's nothing that's going to motivate you more than being successful, doing your job, and winning games. I don't care how many yards you catch. If you go 6-10 or 4-12, it's not any fun. No matter what you're able to accomplish individually, it's all about winning games, and that's what we're going to look forward to do.
You were teammates with Jared Cook in Green Bay, and you've seen him come through in big situations. You had a situational football moment where he got out of bounds when Gruden, the team needed him to. What have you seen from Jared then and now, and what's your thoughts of him as a player?
Great player. More of the same. We're kind of disappointed when he left us. I mean, obviously that I think he wanted to stay, but it's just how, obviously, as I just found out, how things work sometimes. So, but he was huge for us. He did, like you said, did some great things. He made some huge plays, and you can see him continue to grow. And some of us sit here and wonder why a guy like that's been bounced around the league like he has. So it's great to be back with him, to have that guy out there as well, running down the middle, and and having that mismatch. I mean, if you have him in the middle and on the outside, he creates that mismatch that I think every offense is looking for now with their tight ends.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
How you guys doing?
Good.
You guys all had a good summer? Good summer, man. Just like to start saying, this is an unbelievable place to hold training camp. The setup's unbelievable. The room's right here, beautiful fields here. We had a good day in pads, first day, so it's exciting to get started.
How much autonomy has John Gruden given you to sort of almost be the head coach of the defense, knowing that he's an offensive guy?
Yeah, he's heavily involved in the offense. Obviously, we communicate every day with what we're doing on defense, but I pretty much stay on everything that's going on over there. But we communicate each and every day of what's going in, so we're working together in practice and making sure we're getting the proper looks for Derek.
How does that compare to previous stops for you in terms of that autonomy?
It's very similar. I worked with Marvin. Obviously, he was a defensive coach, but right. Marvin kind of went with both sides at times. So I would say it's a little different.
What's Gary on dealing with?
He's got a little hip strain there, so it's unfortunate. He made a good play on the ball in a one-on-one drill and just bumped his hip a little bit, so he won't be out for too long. But we got a lot of guys working out there at corner. It's going to be a good battle to see who comes out of it.
See Darryl out there, I guess, instead of him. What do you like out of him?
I mean, he's just he's played a lot of football, and he's an experienced guy. He's big and long, and he's really starting to pick up the system the last couple of days.
A lot of experienced guys, guys who you've had before. When you're installing a new defense, how important is it to have guys who've been through it before?
Well, it's very important because you got, I always say about this, a player's game. So when you have guys that really understand the details of everything, obviously we haven't been through a season with some of the guys who were here last year. Some of the things that come up, whether it be in the locker room or in the meeting room, I may say, hey, do you remember when this happened 2 years ago against Atlanta? And we recall those things. So it's very helpful to have guys that are in the infantry line there to help us out.
I'm sure you've been through before. How hard is it when arguably your best defensive player isn't here yet? What can you do in terms of getting through it? Knowing he's coming.
True. I mean, I really can't worry about that right now. It's going to be Reggie's deal, and I'm just trying to coach the guys that are out here. Obviously, when he gets here, if he gets here, he'll be an exciting piece to add, for sure. Good.
You've seen a lot of Arden Key. Today was your first day seeing him in pads. What is Arden doing?
He's a talented rusher, as we know. That's why we drafted him. He's doing a good job of playing the runs, how we want him to play the runs. We know he can rush. He's special that way. So obviously we came out here in pads today. He showed the same thing he did in shorts. So it's exciting to have him out there.
That's a big test for guys. Like you see one thing in shorts, and then you want to see it carry over.
Yeah, no question. It's a different game when you're in pads. So whether it be a 9-on-7 drill or a pass rush drill, whatever it is, it's better to do in pads because that's how we play on Sunday. He's had a tremendous camp so far. The other day we had a backed up drill. He got the ball out of the back on a strip, and he intercepted the ball coming out of there on a blitz. So and scored with it. So he's been a tremendous leader for us. I'm glad to have him on my side.
A lot's going to be made of the potential for Khalil and this defense. What do you think Bruce is capable of this year, especially looking at the front rushing defense?
Yeah, I just think when I watched him when I took the job and I watched him, I said I did him in college coming out of West Virginia, and obviously I was pushing the draft him in Cincinnati. He went to Seattle before us, so I just think his best gift is going forward, and that's what he should be doing each and every down. So instead of playing linebacker, dropping off in coverage, we got to utilize really his and everybody else's talents to the best we can, whether it's 10 snaps a game or 50 snaps a game, whatever it may be. That's kind of what we have here. We got a lot of different abilities on the defensive side, and it's our job and my job as the coordinator to get these guys in the best position as you see with what they got.
You liked about Tank Carity?
Tank's, he's a physical player in there. Over the tight ends, tough to block for a tight end. He's picked it up. He's smart. He's understand our defense, all the different blitzes and coverages and fronts that we're running. So he's been a real good surprise for us.
Dexter saw quite a bit of playing time last year. What have you seen?
Excuse me?
Dexter saw quite a bit of playing time last year.
Yeah. He's done good. I mean, I will tell you, the corner job is wide open. It's wide open. So it's going to be exciting to see who comes to the top of that battle. He's in it. All those guys are battling each and every day, and it'll be exciting to see when the preseason games come what happens.
The quarterbacks, do you have a philosophy of whether you want guys to stay on the same side or follow receivers, or is it how does that?
I've done both. I've kept guys left and right. I've had guys locked on one guy. So I've done both, just depending on the difference in the ability of one guy to another. And really, the way we teach our system is we teach it in progressions. So the corners understand, hey, if I'm playing over that widest receiver or the number 2 receiver or the number 3 receiver, what's my responsibilities and all those things. So we have the ability to do that.
You worked as an offensive coach early with Marvin in Washington.
Yes, I did.
How was a defensive-minded guy to spend 2 years?
2 years.
In the offensive side room? How does that make you? How do you think that made it better than defensive?
I think it's made me way better. I always told any of my buddies in coaching, if you ever have a year off and as a defensive coach, go somewhere, even if you're not employed, go somewhere and learn offense. Because for the 2 years I was with Coach Spurrier as a head coach, I learned all the protections and how the line's supposed to set and what the running back's supposed to look at in a run game. So having understood all those things and taking all those notes, you can kind of defend against those type of things. How the center's supposed to set in a protection or the tackle or who the back has. He's blocking these 2 guys. So it's a huge advantage for me.
It's fair to say it has a dimension. Your conversations with players, you can tell them exactly what that offensive lineman is trying to do.
No doubt. And you relate. And it's not what I know. It's what I can get relayed to those guys. So it's important that the way we teach this thing is in progression. So these guys are really working hard. I like the group of guys I got. And they come to work. They take great notes. They ask questions. And they're hungry, which is most important.
Given what happened.
Derek Carr said yesterday that his goal is to make your lunch taste a little worse
every
day. I guess my question is, how's your lunch taste in this camp?
Well, after today's practice, I'll probably skip lunch, which I could probably use skipping lunch. But it's good competition. John and Derek are teaming up, and it's fun each and every day to go out and compete against. He's a hell of a player. He gets them in and out of plays all the time, and good plays, which is good for our defense. But it's a great challenge every day because he's one of the best at it.
How much of an asset is it to have a guy like Marcus Gilchrist and his versatility?
Yeah. No, he's been tremendous. I'll tell you, I told Marcus, I said, when you're done playing, I'm going to hire you as a coach because he's smart. He understands the big picture. He can play nickel, safety, corner. So when you have a guy like that, you can utilize him against tight ends or receivers or backs coming out of the backfield. So he's been a great asset for us.
Given what happened last year, I know you say it's minor, but how important is it for Conley to get back for just the reps and to get into this?
No doubt. I mean, it's unfortunate. He went down with the injury the other day, and we're going to try to get him back on the field and make sure he's in the meeting rooms taking notes and understanding that he's not getting behind with the techniques of what we're teaching.
What are your first impressions of J.Nelson?
Well, Nick's he's been doing a lot of studying in the off season. Obviously, he came out the first couple of days just getting the rust off a little bit, and so he's doing a good job for us the last couple of days, being out there in full practice. He's playing some nickel on outside corner for us, so he's been doing good, right where we want him to be.
What would you say is the most difficult thing for the guys who are carrying over from last year to this year in terms of adjusting to your system? What do you think the guys are going to get hung up on the most?
I didn't really ask much, because when you change coaches wherever it is, it's part of the NFL. Yeah. I can't go through everything that they were taught last year, so I kind of didn't worry about it. Yeah. I said, hey, erase everything you had from last year. We're going to start this book new, the new chapter. We're going to write every chapter as we go. So I can't really answer the question because I didn't really ask the players much that way. We just say we're going to start new here, and this is what we're going to do.
In terms of installing a defense, what do you think is the thing that you're going to challenge them the most with? Is it the physicality aspect?
For sure. That's number one, being smart, situationally, understanding. I always tell them, hey, I'm gonna give you a game plan sheet every week, and I'm going to tell you why I'm calling these things. Just don't say, hey, and I want you to ask me, what are you looking for here? And it's important that they understand it because they're playing. Yeah. So.
A couple more guys.
But
part of the decision with him early was having him be a guy who can really match up against tight ends, the size speed combination.
Yep.
Is that something that this staff sees as well, or how do you think, is it too early to say how he does?
You can't just go in a game and say, hey, I'm going to utilize this guy against the tight end. So he's got to learn the whole thing and then go, because obviously offenses will adjust once they see that. So his main thing is to understand the techniques and all the coverages that we're teaching, being in the right spot, and then working some man-to-man in there against the tight ends. But like I said, we got a lot of guys working out here, and like I told the players in the meeting, there's no job secure. So whether you're a first-round pick, a free agent, I'm going to pick the best how many guys they give me.
Lots been made about Derek Carr being able to do a little more audibling in the line this season. What does that do for you as a defense based on that practice?
Oh, it's like I said, the players understand we might have to get in and out of calls some. But like I said, he's tremendous to go against every day. He's smart. Every now and again we'll fool him, but not very often. So he's a good player that way.
All right, guys, questions?
When it comes to this defense, what are the characteristics that are going to separate it from the rest of the league when it all kind of comes together?
I think we're able to do a lot of different things. I think the coaches do a good job of putting together a scheme where they can teach it the right way, and the young guys kind of get it, and the older guys try and lead by example and piggyback off of the coaches. That way, now that we're in camp, we kind of everybody knows what to do, and we got this thing rolling a little bit.
How is Paul Gunther as a teacher? Is he pretty good at kind of expressing?
Definitely, probably the best, one of the best around that I've been in my 8 years. Just getting guys to understand, whatever their role is on this defense or a certain coverage or whatever scheme that it is, probably the best that I've been around at getting guys to learn a scheme and learning how to, and being able to teach it the right way.
He said he likes your knowledge of, so many different positions that he wants you to coach for him someday. Do you think that might be in your future?
I don't know. It may be one day, but right now I'm just trying to focus on making this team and, trying to do whatever I can to compete.
What do you think about the coach saying that's kind of compliment, saying that you're smart and being a coach? Have you ever heard any coach say that to you, and what do you think of this?
Yeah, it's definitely flattering. It's definitely something that you want to hear. But it's one of those things where I just kind of try and keep my head down and just work.
Mark's in a league that phases out veteran players a lot. At least a lot of teams do. John, the first time he was here, and now again this time, brought a lot of guys in, 7, 8, 9 year veterans that pelts on the wall, so to speak, and he likes to have those guys in the meeting rooms. What have been your observations on the veterans that have brought in and how this team kind of respects veteran players?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's a lot of veteran guys, but it's a lot of veteran guys that can still play ball.
Yeah.
And so we bring that aspect to the table as well as the knowledge and trying to get young guys and bring them along and try and teach them and help them as much as we can.
Is it challenging mentally that you could be playing safety one play, slot corner the next, and nickel backer the next, just kind of compartmentalizing all the different roles and the ways that you're used?
Honestly, I've kind of been doing it my whole career, so it's just natural. It's just it's like second nature to me.
Raiders are coming off of a season which they played under John Pagano. Obviously, you played under Pagano. Is that familiarity that you have with what they just came from? Does that help you in terms of speaking the same language on some of the stuff that these guys did last year?
Definitely. I think just being in my tenure in the league, just being able to play a lot of different stuff, it helps you be able to go on from next scheme to the next scheme. A lot of the schemes are different, but they're the same. The terminology is a little bit different, but a lot of the concepts of everything that you're trying to accomplish are a lot alike.
As a veteran leader, what have some of the guys been saying about that transition from last year's defense to this one? Has there been anything that guys have gotten hung up on at all?
No, it's just we just focus on this year, really. Just trying to take heed to whatever the coaches are trying to put in, and everybody's just trying to buy into this year.
How much teaching have you had to do being familiar with this?
It's still a different defense for me. I had to. It was a little bit of a learning thing for me too. But the coaches do a really good job, getting guys to understand the defense and teaching guys. And I think we're just kind of like the second tier guys that if they have a question here and there that we can help.
You're like the graduate instructor and the
Right.
professor's like, well, here's how you do this.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Bruce was saying that big thing from last year to this year is that guys don't have to think as much. What facilitates that? What is it about this defense that allows you guys to just play free?
I can't speak for last year, but just like I was saying earlier, I think the coaches do a good job of teaching defense and putting guys in a position and helping guys understand what their role is and whatever it is the defense that we're doing, so it allows guys to play a little bit faster.
Garion's a little banged up right now, but obviously he has high expectations for himself. The Raiders are going to be around 50 for Rashawn Melvin. What do you see that in terms of that quarterback duo, what it could be this season?
Both very talented guys. You can see it when we go out there and we do drills and then we get in team drills and stuff like that. So, guys are just out there working hard and it's just competing. And that's what all our guys. Everybody's competing.
Anything strike you about Garion?
Yeah, just a very athletic guy, and to be a young guy, he understands ball, understands splits, he understands routes, he understands combinations and stuff like that. So he's a young guy, but you can tell that he's got football knowledge.
Gruden's fond of talking with his defensive coordinator before practice, and they formulate this plan about what they're going to do against each other, and then they deviate from it. They kind of try and trick each other, and they try and foster an offense versus defense thing. Can you see that here more than maybe other places you've been, that the competition at practice to try and beat the other unit is pretty keen here?
Yeah, it definitely is. I think it's kind of like it's always been a thing, but I think more so because of the connection that those guys have, and I think those guys are really close. So being that they're really close, I think they compete a lot, and it trickles down to the players, and it makes us even more competitive.
It's obviously important for safeties to be on the same page. How is that level of communication going with Reggie and with Carl, and how do you kind of build that chemistry, because you guys have to be ready to go in less than a month?
I think it just takes repetition. It takes being with a guy. I think we all kind of know each other now. Sometimes where I may do something and they can play off of it, and somebody else may do something and we know how to play off of it now. I think we've gotten to the point now where, it's just that repetition has created a little bit more chemistry each and every day.
What have you seen from J.Nelson? He's just 3 days in, but he's missing the offseason. Finally getting a chance to get in and run around with you guys. What have you seen?
Another same thing I would say about Garion. You can tell he understands ball. It's tough to come in this league and play in the nickel position with all of the different things that you have to be able to read and have to be able to cover and have to be able to be in the run fits. And you can just tell by the way he diagnoses plays that he has an understanding of being able to play the game.
Does it come to you much for advice?
Most definitely, yeah. But he's a quiet guy, but you can tell he wants to know a lot he wants to learn a lot because he'll ask questions, not even just to the players. He asks a lot of questions to coaches in the team room and all that type of stuff.
All right, you guys all set?
Thanks, bud.
I'm the president of the Raider Nation. Please use this as motivation.
If you want a piece of this, you can come and get it.
I'm the president of the Raider Nation. Please use this as motivation.
If you want a piece of this, you can come and get it.
I'm the president of the Raider Nation. Please use this as motivation.